The next morning I made it as far as the front of the women's dorm when Akari came rushing up to me with a smile. Morning, Akari. Seeing her sunny smile made me feel cheerful as well. For now, the fact she was smiling at me after what happened yesterday came as an honest relief.
それで昨日のことなんだけど。
Yeah.
あれからいろいろ考えてね。今日お母さんに会いに行こうと思うの。
Really?
プレゼントのお礼言わないといけないし、電話じゃ伝わらないことも多いし、ケイスケの言う通りなら一度お母さんとちゃんと話してみたい。今までのことを許せるかどうかはわからないけれど、お母さんの本当の気持ちが知りたい。
I see. A fine decision. I gave her head a gentle pat. I suddenly remembered that we were in public, but Akari didn't act especially bothered. In fact, she smiled, albeit a bit uneasily. This is only if you're okay with it, but want me to go with you?
お願い。
Got it. Let's go together after school. I gave Akari's back a gentle pat and smiled to try and revitalize her. Although I hadn't really elaborated on Maki-san's condition, it was evident from my run-ins with her that it was anything but minor. As much as I believed it was due to fatigue, I couldn't shake this terrible feeling. If at all possible, I would like to make that clear to her today. Because I wanted Akari, no, both of them to be happy.
Hi, お弁当。
Oh, thank you. I wonder what's in it today.
開けてからのお楽しみ。お二人ともすっかり馴染んできましたね。
You think?
はい。なんて言うんでしょう。恋人というより仲良し夫婦みたいになってきたような。恋はやがて愛に変わると言いますが、そういう時期なのかもしれませんね。確かにケイスケのことは愛してますけど、まだ一緒にいるとドキドキしますよ。
Haha, for sure. My heart goes a million miles an hour whenever we are all mushy together.
ケイスケ。
Akari.
うわ、蜂蜜の砂糖割りみたいなセリフ聞いちゃったよ。虫歯になりそうだね。
まあでも仲良きことは美しきかなですよ。
その口ぶりだと葵くんはあかりのことを認めたのかい？
はい、今では可愛い妹ができたなーって思ってますよ。そこは姉じゃないのですか？だってお姉ちゃんっていうより妹みたいな可愛さなんですよ、あかりさんって。それを言わないでってば。わかります。あかりちゃんってすっごく抱っこしがいがあるんですよね。そうそう、わかります？はい。またあかりちゃんを抱っこしたいです。私も。ちょっと二人とも何言ってるんですか？なら私もさせてもらおうかな。もうカナまで。
Oh, Kumakichi, if you even try to hug her, I'll drown you in the ocean myself.
相変わらず僕の扱いひどいよね。
いるか、キビツミヤ。
あら、お兄様。
キビツミヤ、急を要するので要件だけ伝える。キビツミヤマキが倒れた。
Tamahiko-sensei's sudden notice caused Akari to drop her chopsticks.
とても危険な状態だ。すぐ家に戻れ。外に車を手配した。
Akari, pull it together. It's all right.
ケイスケ。
I embraced Akari and gave her a gentle pat on the back. She clung to me as her body trembled ever so slightly.
ケイスケさんも一緒に行ってください。 私たちも後から追いかけますから。
Yeah, got it.
急げ、吉備宮、浦部。
Damn it, just when Akari was finally going to face her family and Maki-san head on. It wasn't supposed to be this way.
Akari, どうして戻ってきたのですか？だってお母さんが。早くここから逃げなさい。
Get out? What do you mean?
お嬢様、急で申し訳ありませんが、三賢人様がお待ちです。どうぞこちらに。
やめなさい。あかりは、お母さん。
Hey, I don't know how these three sages are, but what could be more important than a daughter nursing her ill bedridden mother?
お前には関係のないことだ。黙っていろ。
Right back at you, dude. We came here to talk to Maki-san, not you or the three sages.
ケイスケの言う通りよ。私はお母さんに話があるの。下がりなさい。
その命令には従いません。すぐにお連れするよう厳命されております。
聞こえなかったの？私は吉備宮家次期当主よ。その命令が聞けないの？
お嬢様はまだ当主ではありません。厳密にはそのような権限はありません。
Huh. Maki-san, would you tell this tactless ninja to leave for us?
下がりなさい。命令ですよ。
申し訳ありません。マキ様の命令には従う必要はないと伺っております。
どういうこと？
マキ様は体調を崩され、すでに業務に耐えられる体ではありません。医師の診断上、今後の復帰は無理という診察結果が出まして、至急お嬢様に当主を引き継がせる必要があると。やめて！約束が違う！申し訳ありません。三賢人様のご命令ですので。
あかり！逃げて！
Honestly, this was such a sudden development that my mind hadn't caught up, but my body moved autonomously at the sound of Maki-san's desperate shout. Akari, we are going outside. She was still confused, so I tugged her hand and pulled Akari to her feet.
でもお母さんが。
It'll be alright. I promise I'll work something out.
言って！あかり！
Maki-san, be well.
貴様、お嬢様をどこへ連れて行く気だ？
Outside, of course. Later. With that, I pulled Akari by the hand and broke into a full speed dash down the hallway.
そこの二人を止めろ！者ども、出会え！出会え！
As I expected, the Kibitsumiya estate security ninjas were incredible and immediately jumped into action. Due to the ninjas spreading out in all directions, our paths and avenues of escape were rapidly being blocked off. What do we have here? They aren't being very hospitable toward us, are they? I let go of Akari's hand and glared down at the ninjas approaching us head-on. Akari seemed to have regained her footing. She circled around behind me, drew her wooden sword, and took a stance.
そこをどきなさい、あなたたち。痛い目に遭うわよ。
おやめください。怪我をさせたくありません。
それは私のセリフよ。今ちょっと気が立ってるの。手加減できないわよ。
I could feel the spirit emanating from Akari behind me. She was raring to go, wasn't she? I knew this was a crisis, but I was getting a little excited.
どうする、ケイスケ？もう強引に進むしかなさそうだけど。
Sure does. Strategy is worthless to us now. If there's no path, we'll just make one ourselves.
道がないなら作る。いい言葉ね。
We are pushing through to the entrance. You guide us. Leave the rear to me.
わかったわ。
来るのか？
ええ、だからどかないと痛い目に遭うって言ったでしょ。
Akari took aim at the confused ninjas, swung her sword, and... In contrast to my restrained actions, I could hear Akari's vigorous cries behind me. I was, of course, worried about Maki-san, but when I thought about how this was a Momotaro Oni tag team, it was so amusing I couldn't help but enjoy myself.
道が開いた。ケイスケ、今なら出られるわ。
逃がしませんぞ。
しつこい。
When we reached the main entrance, the ninja squadron was blocking the main entrance. I might be able to get away if I were by myself, but I couldn't leave Akari behind. What to do? This would mean using my Oni powers, but should I carry Akari and leap out the window? Just as that thought sent an awful sweat reeling down my back.
あかりちゃん、ケイスケさん、こっちです。カナ。
Kana-tan, you're a true angel.
坂上の者ども、玉砕覚悟でかかれ。
おお、覚悟。
来ちゃダメです。
スットライク。
The ninjas attempting to rush us took the brunt of Kana's swing and were sent flying, spinning around like bowling pins.
No!
Then, the final ninja was caught in the crossfire of his launched colleagues and sent hurtling into a corner of the hallway. The path was cleared, much like Moses had once parted the sea. Kana knocked away the ninjas and forcibly cleared our way.
ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。後で救護班を向かわせますから。
あかり、ケイスケ、こっちだ。
Yeah, let's go, Akari. Kana, who had defended us from the rear, Akari and I hopped into a car and quickly closed the door.
お兄様、出してください。
わかった。
Like so, we narrowly, yet successfully managed to escape the Kibitsumiya estate.
お茶が入りました。どうぞ。
Afterward, we decided to hide out in Kana's room for the time being. The Kibitsumiyas had clout throughout the entire island. There were sure to be Kibitsumiya subordinates laying in wait not only at my and Akari's dorms, but also throughout the academy. The only safe place on this island that the Kibitsumiyas could not reach was the Sakagami household.
それにしてもびっくりしたよ。駆けつけたら2人が忍者に囲まれてるんだからね。
本当です。目を疑いました。でも来てくれて助かったわ。みんながいなかったら逃げられなかったでしょうし。どうしてあかりちゃんたちは忍者さんたちに追われていたんですか？あかりちゃんはキビツミヤの次期当主ですのに。それは
Akari and I explained what had transpired a short time ago. About how Maki-san was actually in poor health. And about how that was being used as a pretext to force Akari to succeed her. Maki-san told us to run, so I took Akari and escaped for the time being.
そんなことが。
なるほど。やはりマキさん、相当無茶していたみたいだね。
やっぱりって。
マキさんから口止めされてたんだけど、いい機会かもね。実は僕、経理関係でマキさんと一緒に仕事をしたことがあってね。その時、何度も倒れるところを見てるんだ。入院した方がいいって何度も勧めたんだけど、そんな時間ないからって、このことは絶対に黙っていてくださいって必死に頼まれて、気になってかかりつけの医者に聞いたんだけど、マキさんはもともとあまり体が丈夫じゃないみたいでね。 それでもこの10年間吉備宮当主としての激務をこなしてきた。大した人だよ。
そんなひどいひどいよ。お母さん教えてくれたら私きっともっとお母さんに優しくなれた。ひどいこと言わなくても済んだのに。
Akari said quietly, tearfully. When your old man passed away, you were going to have to take over in his place, but that would mean having your freedom and future taken from you. So, Maki-san protected you from the burden the three sages presented by becoming the acting head of the family instead. Or so I heard.
立派なお母さんですね。バカ。お母さんのバカ。あなた折れるまでどうして。あかりちゃん、無条件に子供の幸せを願うのが親というものですよ。
病弱なのを隠していたのは対外的な理由もあるんだろう。御三家のトップが頼りない存在では結束力が弱まってしまうからな。吉備宮真紀はよくやった。だがもう限界だろう。三賢人が動いたのもうなずける。
With that final remark from Tamaiko-sensei, everyone fell silent.
で、これからどうするんだい？寮には吉備宮の手が回ってるだろうし。
うちでよければしばらく止めてあげられるけれど。
Running away will fundamentally never solve the problem. Besides, the Kibitsumiya state is getting in touch with you as we speak, aren't they?
はい。今すぐあかりちゃんを引き渡すようにと。ごめんね、かな。気にしないで。私はどんなことがあってもあかりちゃんの味方だから。うん。ありがとう、かな。
Yes, nothing would come of running away. There was one way to resolve this issue: Akari taking over the Kibitsumiya family. However, that would mean negating everything Maki-san had worked so hard toward. If that were to happen, Akari would be driven to exhaustion in Maki-san's place and expend the remainder of her life for the Kibitsumiyas. I didn't want to put Akari through that if at all possible. But what should we do?
決めた。私、家に戻るわ。
Akari. Yes, that's just the sort of person Akari was.
あかりちゃん。
考えて出した答えか。今までの生活を捨て、吉備宮真紀が背負っていたものを全て背負うことになるんだぞ。
いいえ、違います。そうはなりません。私が継ぐのは吉備宮の家じゃない。お父さんとお母さんの意思よ。どういうこと？お父さんは昔から吉備宮が、三賢人のあり方がおかしいって言ってた。だからまずそこを変える。カビの生えた古臭い慣習に縛られ続けるなんて、私はまっぴらごめんだわ。
Akari.
先輩言ってましたよね。規則は人を幸せにするためにある。不幸にするためのものではないって。私もそう思います。あかりちゃん。それに私はみんながいてくれるこの生活が好き。これはかけがえのない宝。捨てることなんてできない。確かにちょっときついかもしれないけど、カナダって学園に通いながら当主も頑張ってるんだもん。私にもできるはずよ。そうだよ。あかりちゃんならできるよ。ありがとう。でも多分私の力だけじゃダメ。私ってうっかり者だからね。だからみんな協力してくれる？
Yeah, I'll be your retainer, Momotaro-san.
私もです。
カナが行くなら僕もついていくよ。僕は金太郎のお供だからね。
及ばずながら私もお供しますよ。ね、お兄様。
逃走の手助けをしたからな。毒を食らわば皿までだ。
お供がいっぱいできて頼もしいわ。本当にありがとう、みんな。
A flicker of light rose to Akari's eyes, and she flashed a shy smile. We would all be gently watching over her.
だが、一つだけいいか、キビツミ。お前の主張が三賢人に受け入れられるとは到底思えん。話し合いをする前に拘束されるのがオチだろう。
そうですね。このままお屋敷に戻るのは危険だと思う。となると、何らかの策は練るべきですね。そうね。ならみんなで作戦を立てましょう。協力してくれるわよね。
Yeah, of course. With my declaration, everyone gave a powerful nod. Now, let the strategy meeting commence.
ただいま。
お嬢様。
三賢人に話を聞きに来たわ。どうしてちょうだい。
それは願ってもないことですか。
暴れたのは謝るわ。でもそれはそっちが強引な手を使おうとしたからよ。それと話を聞くのに一つ条件があるわ。
伺います。
カナと乙女先輩、それと護衛の同行を認めなさい。
少々お待ちを。
The ninja bowed his head to Akari's demands and darted down the hallway. I was obviously her bodyguard, and Akari had good reason to bring Kana and Senpai along. She may be a Kibitsumiya, but we assumed no harm would come to the either of them given their VIP status in the three great families. If push came to shove, we could probably cut our way through with Kana there. By the way, the other members of our group were standing by in Tamaiko-sensei's car. If anything were to happen, they would come running immediately.
問題ないとのことです。その条件でお会いになるそうです。
そう。じゃあ案内して。
Akari strutted confidently with the ninjas guiding the way. Though she looked imposing, I was sure she was feeling anxious on the insides. It'll be okay, Akari. No matter what happens, I've got your back. Even if it meant exposing my true identity.
こちらでお待ちください。
The ninjas escorted us to the reception room Maki-san and I were in previously. We took a seat and surveyed our surroundings. This is going unexpected smoothly.
ええ、ちょっと気味が悪いわね。油断は禁物です。警戒は怠らないようにお願いしますね。それにしても、三賢人さんってどんな方なんでしょう。私も会うのは初めてなんです。
Considering how things went last time, I can't imagine they are all that friendly.
同感ね。ですが、吉備宮家を牛耳るかなりの権力者です。不用意な発言は慎んだ方が賢明かと。
That's true. I'm her bodyguard anyway, so I'll keep my mouth shut. In truth, there was so much I wanted to say, but it would be wrong of me to take this exceedingly rare opportunity for Akari.
お待たせしました。三賢人様がおいでになります。
We stood up and collectively gazed into the entryway. For whatever reason, we were greeted with what sounded like a winch being pulled in front of us. Before long, the ninjas pushed in 3 jewels sitting atop a red mat. They were about the size of a softball and were radiating their own faint light.
三賢人様がお見えになりました。
Huh? Where are they?
我らはここにいる。
玉が喋った。
玉ではない。我らが三賢人だ。
やけに凝った通信機のオブジェね。 私たちなんかには姿を見せる必要もないってわけ？
通信機ではない。我らが三賢人だ。
What? Are these mystic treasures? Wait, what are you saying? These are...
これは秘宝です。
いかに我らは1800年前秘宝を守るために猿お方から地上に使わされた秘宝。吉備津彦の御事をサポートするよう命じられた秘宝。
以来吉備津彦の血族と共にある。今までも、そしてこれから。
The three gems spoke as they emitted a faint light, almost as if they possessed their own will. 3 sages, 3 round orbs. Yes, mystic treasures. If one were to speak of the Kibitsumiya's mystic treasure, it would be the Peaches of Life. In that cave Akari and I ventured into, not only were there traces of the 3 of the Peaches of Life, there were also 3 large rocks with 3 individual orb-shaped slots. Treasure protected by thy triplet stones, consume the light upon the dragon's bowels. That shall be the sign of the king.
三つ恋は？あ、それってもしかして？
Yeah, they're also the perfect size. Were all of you in a cavern a long time ago?
いかに我らはあの地より移され、現在はこの地にある。
I see. It sounds like you have been involved with the Kibitsumiya family for ages. What the 3 sages said appeared to be true, given their somewhat mechanical language. I suspected they weren't the type to joke around. In that case, it may be acceptable to move this conversation forward and get straight to the point. Senpai.
そうですね。そろそろお話を伺いたいのですが。
了承した。吉備津宮あかり、即刻家に戻り、当主の座を引き継げ。
いきなりね。
吉備津宮真希は当主として使い物にならなくなった。吉備津宮あかり、お前が次の当主となるのだ。
なってもいいけどね。今お母さんを侮辱したことを詫びなさいよ。
侮辱などしていない。吉備津宮真希は病に侵され、すでに当主としての機能を失っている。
なんですって？
あれはもう使い物にならない。今すぐお前が当主となり、御三家をまとめなければならない。
あんたらね、聞いていればさっきから人を物みたいに。私もお母さんもあなたたちの道具じゃないのよ。こんなものに私のうちはめちゃくちゃにされたの？こんなおもちゃに。
Akari.
我らはおもちゃなどではない。我らは三賢人、秘宝を守る者。
吉備津彦の血族よ、当主の座を告げ。これは決定事項だ。お前に拒否権はない。
ふざけないで！人を物扱いするような奴の意見なんて聞きたくない！あんたたちなんていらない！こんなもの、いっそのことなくなればいいんだ！
The enraged Akari shot up from her chair and drew her wooden sword. This girl was seriously planning to smash at the mystic treasures. Calm down, Akari. Taking it out on those things won't solve anything.
そうです。落ち着いてください。そんなことをしたら一生御三家から追われる身になりますよ。あかりちゃんダメ。落ち着いて。
All 3 of us held Akari back. Akari had excellent reflexes, and it was a little difficult for us to hold her back, but she was no match for Kana's superhuman strength.
落ち着いて。お願いだから落ち着いて。あかりちゃん。
Even I felt like smashing these unempathetic pieces of junk. These mystic treasures had apparently resided on the Kibitsumiya estate for some time now, and we needed to learn what their true purpose was before destroying them without a second thought.
火急の要件にてご容赦を。マキ様の容体が急変いたしました。
What did you say?
誤差60秒。多少時間が早まった。
あれはもう終わりだ。娘が大きくなるまでの身代わりとしてはほどほどに使えたか。
吉備宮あかり、吉備宮真希に代わりお前が当主となる。我らの指示に従えば万事うまくいくであろう。
ふざけないで。お母さんは終わってなんかない。
That's right. We still have one trick left up our sleeves.
ですか？
Yeah, I heard all about the Peaches of Life, the mystic treasure passed down in the Kibitsumiya family. If we use those, then Maki-san can be saved.
確かに生命の桃の効果は身体能力の著しい向上。副作用として使用者の体力も回復させます。その力があればマキさんの体も治ると思います。
却下。秘宝を使用するなどありえない。
吉備宮真希はもはや不要。吉備宮あかりが当主となれば何の問題もない。
The detached voices echoed quietly throughout the room. I found their unemotional voices incredibly creepy, and that was more than enough to incite me, no, us.
ひどいです。秘宝は所詮作られたもの。人の気持ちは理解できないのですね。やっぱりあんたたちなんかいらない。
なぜだ。我らは正しい。
論理的にこれが一番効率的である。
なぜ我らに従わぬ。
ええ、そりゃあわからないでしょうね。あなたたちには永遠にわかるわけないわ。
As Akari tried to leave the room, we followed along in step.
どこへ行く。話はまだ終わっていない。
吉備宮あかり、当主を告げ。これは命令だ。
The demands fell on deaf ears as we made our way out of the room. It came as no surprise that even the ninjas who always stopped us didn't try to detain us this time. After what, we all visited Maki-san's bedroom. Akari, relieved, the doctor who had performed Maki-san's examination, sat at her side and took her hand softly.
お母さん、あかり、お母さん。圭介から全部聞いたよ。圭介くん、いけませんよ。内緒だって言ったのに。
I'm sorry.
ひどいよ。私、お母さんが思ってるほど弱い子じゃないよ。やっぱり弱い子だ。理由も知らないでお母さんを憎んでいっぱいひどいこと言った。ごめんねお母さん、ごめんね。お母さんは私の自慢の立派なお母さんだよ。あかり、ごめんね。
They held hands, and their lingering resentment washed away with their tears. Kana was wiping the corners of her eyes constantly. It must have affected her too. Senpai gently nodded as well. I guess it struck a chord with me too, as my eyes felt strangely hot.
そうだ、治ったら一緒に買い物に行こうよ。一緒に料理だってしようよ。私、お母さんからまだ何も習ってない。お父さんが美味しい美味しいって食べてたレシピいっぱい教えてよ。 ごめんねあかり。やだお母さん約束してよ。やっと仲直りできたのにこんなのってないよ。ごめんねあかり。ごめんね。
It looked like she was delirious with fever, and she was apologizing for not being able to see that promise through.
お母さんお母さん。
いいか皆さん退出を。君注射の準備を。
スケくんあかりをお願いします。いやお母さんやだ
Leave this to the doctor. There's nothing we can do here. I held Akari to subdue her shrieks and escorted her out of the room by force.
やっとおばさまと仲直りできたのに。
Hey, Akari, I hate to bring this up now, but do you not know where the Peaches of Life are located?
知らない。
Akari shook her head and was on the verge of tears. I had asked her once before as well, but I guess she really didn't know. I see. If we knew where, I figured we could all barge our way in and give one to Maki-san.
そうね。そうできればって思ったけど、無理よ。
True, as long as we don't know where it is.
そういう問題じゃないわ。吉備宮家は代々島を、そして秘宝を守ってきた。これは使命なの。
秘宝は現代の科学力では説明できない神秘の力を秘めています。茶釜みたいにお茶目なものから、それこそ世の中を混乱に陥れ国を滅ぼすようなものまで様々です。
そう、秘宝は絶対に使ってはいけない。使えばこの世に災いをもたらす。フラはそれを使って人助けとか言ってるみたいだけど、私たちがウラを許せなかったのはそういうことなのよ。
I see.
うちの一族はどんなことがあっても秘宝の力には頼らなかった。もちろんお父さんもね。だからお母さんを助けたいからって秘宝を、生命の桃を使うわけにはいかないわ。そんなことをしたらお父さんの意志を裏切ることになるから、たとえお母さんを。 あかりちゃん。
Sorry, I said something pretty rash.
いいの。ありがとう。
Grandpa had told me the Kibitsumiyas were stubborn, but they had their own reasons for being that way. When all was said and done, Akari was proud to be a Kibitsumiya. No, in this situation, she was proud to have inherited her old man's blood. To skew her father's will and use a mystic treasure was an impossible proposition as far as she was concerned. But I was Phantom Thief Uda. Treasures were only valuable when put to good use, otherwise they were useless. I believed that from the bottom of my heart. In which case, what I should do is... Kana, I'm going outside to get some fresh air. Will you look after Akari? With Akari now in Kana's care, I left the state to meet with a certain someone. It was pitch dark outside by the time I left the estate and reached the nearby woods. This should be far enough out that nobody would see me. Now then. Failure wasn't an option this time, and Aoi's assistance would be indispensable. Worse yet, the favor I would ask of Aoi would be a considerable burden, and it honestly left me feeling depressed. But this was my only choice.
いたいた。お兄ちゃん、何用事って。
Yeah, Aoi, I need to ask a favor of you.
どうしたの？改まっちゃって。
I want to steal a mystic treasure from the Kibitsumiya estate. My target is the Kibitsumiya's grand mystic treasure, the Peaches of Life.
いきなり何を言い出すの？それに、おじいちゃんには当分の間活動禁止って言われてるじゃない。
I'm doing it anyway. I quietly interrupted Aoi's protests with unwavering determination. I have to do it, or else she'll cry. I don't want to see her cry any more than I already have.
お兄ちゃん、本気なんだね。
Yeah, also, after this job, I'm guessing we'll have to leave the island.
どういうこと？
I informed Aoi of the situation thus far, as well as the operation I would be performing following this. I had managed to trick everyone up until now, but this time, my true identity would be revealed. That was just how risky a mission it was. Long story short, it would mean forcing Aoi to leave Kureha and her friends behind.
なるほど。
I'm sorry to cause so much trouble, but I want Akari and Maki-san to lead happy lives.
そう。
Please, Aoi, I need your help.
お兄ちゃん、本当にやるんだね。でも、そうしたら、あかりさんと離れ離れになっちゃうよ。
Honestly, I want to cry. My heart feels like it's going to break. But you know, I decided I would make Akari happy. I want the mother and daughter to smile and to make up for the time they lost.
お兄ちゃん、宝は役立ててこそ宝。秘する宝に価値はなし。それが怪盗ウラのポリシーだよね。
Exactly. If I abandon those two, Phantom Thief Ura's name will be no more.
そっか。わかった。なら、私も全力全開で行くよ。
Aoi, I'm sorry about this.
いいんだよ。私だって怪盗コーラだもん。覚悟はしてるから。それに、私もあかりさんには幸せになってほしいからね。
Aoi smiled gently and gazed at me. She was such a strong girl. I couldn't be happier that she was my partner. Thank goodness she was my sister.
それでお兄ちゃん、秘宝はどこにあるの？
Oh, I don't know yet.
それで今の展開なの？ありえなくない？
Well, wait. I have an idea. With that comment, I gave Aoi a thumbs up and a smile. Aoi and I came to an understanding. Showtime came all too suddenly, but I was confident. All that left was...
お母さん、やだ。死んじゃやだ。
I could hear Akari crying from the other end of the hallway. As I drew near, Kana and Otome-senpai were holding Akari's hands as she squatted down in front of Maki-san's room.
圭介さん。
Sorry to keep you waiting.
圭介。
Honestly, you're such a crybaby.
だってお母さんが。
I suddenly patted Akari on the back in an effort to soothe her. It'll all be okay, Akari. I'll work things out somehow.
お嬢様、大変です。怪盗裏からの予告状です。 今宵生命の桃を奪いに来るとのことです。
Alright, looks like things went smoothly on Aoi's end.
どうしてよりによってこんな時に。こんな時だからかもしれませんね。まさかこの内部の混乱に乗じて。はいかもしれません。ですがあの浦さんがそんな無粋な真似をするでしょうか。わかりません。ですが予告状が来た以上私たちも動かなければ。
Senpai's right. Come on, Akari. Up and at him, or else those damn 3 sages will walk all over you.
わかった。
Akari rubbed her red eyes, wiped away her tears, and lifted her head. Within those eyes, which targeted Phantom Thief Ura, dwelt the strength of the samurai Momotaro. Alright, this was how it should be. That was the Kibitsumiya Akari I loved.
当主が倒れてる今、私が代行で指揮を取ります。警戒態勢を厳に。怪盗裏が来るわよ。気合を入れなさい。吉備宮の威信にかけて必ず捕まえるわ。かな、乙女先輩、忍者さんの増援をお願いできるかしら。すぐに手配するね。わかりました。外にいるお兄様たちを呼んできます。
お嬢様、三賢人様が警備に関してご相談があるそうです。すぐ来るようにと。
わかったわ。圭介、一緒に来て。
Yeah. Man, she'd become so dignified in tense situations, it was hard to believe she had been crying her eyes out only moments earlier. But yeah, this was for the best, otherwise she wouldn't be fit to be Phantom Thief Ura's rival. Okay then, if I had to say, this was where the main event was about to begin. Neither I nor Akari, much less Maki-san, knew the exact location of the Peaches of Life. With that said, there was no way the 3 sages who had been in control of the mystic treasures since the time of the first generation family head wouldn't know where to find it. My suspicion was that they were, in modern terms, similar to a computer. They had no ability to physically manipulate anything. Which would mean, now that they have been sent a notice by the Phantom Thief, they would be forced to dispatch security personnel.
吉備宮あかりよ、当主代行として生命の桃の警備をせ、人選は任せる。
Yes, objects would place security duty upon authentic human beings, just as you would expect. I had anticipated this.
わかったわ。生命の桃の保管場所とか詳しい資料が欲しいんだけど。
承知している。手配済みだ。こちらにございます。
Bingo! I scanned over the documents we received from the ninjas with Akari. The Peaches of Life were securely stored within the off-limits zone deep in the basement beneath the estate.
なるほど、岩戸の最深部か。最大の秘宝と言われるだけのことはあるわね。
Akari looked over the floor plan of the Mystic Treasure storage area while grunting affirmatively to herself. She was probably considering security arrangements.
忍者部隊の指揮は玉彦先生と熊吉に任せましょう。呉羽や棟梁さんもいるし、水際防衛はこれで。屋敷の警備はうちの忍者たちに任せるわ。それで生命の桃の警備は私とカナでやるわ。
Kana too?
ええ、御三家最強の人材よ。たとえ窮地に陥ってもカナがいれば全てひっくり返してくれるわ。それに護衛大将は我が家の秘宝中の秘宝。信頼できる人しか部屋に入れたくない。
Makes sense.
圭介は私と一緒にいてくれる？
Can I assume that means you trust me?
ええ、当たり前でしょ。頼りにしてるわよ、相棒。
Akari's smile pained my heart. Still, everything was now in position for my infiltration. All that remained was to get in touch with Aoi and wait for the time designated in my notice. Which meant I had 20 minutes left. The state went on high alert. The immense number of ninjas deployed both inside and outside the state left a heavy feeling in the air. Meanwhile, Akari had changed into her street clothes, downed some nectar, and took a breather. As usual, you make it look like that stuff actually tastes good.
実際美味しいわよ。それに糖分は頭の回転を助けるんだから。あなたも飲む？
I'll pass. I prefer something a little weaker. Her darling smile pierced my heart. This may very well be the last I would ever see of it. I thought I had braced myself for this, but that thought was immensely heartbreaking. Akari, do you have a second?
何？あ、ちょっとケイスケ、急に抱きついてどうしたのよ。
Oh, I just thought you looked really pretty today.
やめてよ、みんな見てるじゃない。
The security ninjas actually were flitting glances over our way, but I paid no attention to them and hugged Akari even more tightly. Please, let me stay this way a little longer.
もうずるいわよ。ケイスケにギュってされたら抵抗できないの知ってて。
Sorry, I just couldn't hold back.
しょうがないわね。
With a wry smile, Akari wrapped her hands around my back and clung to me. If I had to say, she was deliciously sweet as ever. The way she embraced me sparked my male instincts to an odd extent.
そういえば、ケイスケから抱っこせがんでくることあまりなかったよね。
A certain spoiled someone always bugs me about it and goes, hug this and hug that. The steadfast, yet klutzy Akari. My adorable, spoiled, talented, and hug-loving Akari. I wished we could stay like this forever and ever. My feelings for Akari wouldn't stop spilling from my heart, and I put even more strength into my embrace. Akari, you're soft, warm, and smell so nice.
ケイスケは硬くてあったかくていい匂い。
We likely wouldn't be able to meet for some time, possibly for all eternity. That realization made my heart feel like it would shatter into a million little pieces.
でもこうしてケイスケからされるのなんかいいな。抱っこしてもらうの我慢してケイスケからせがんでくるように調教してみようかな。
Oh, think you can pull that off? You practically live off of hugs.
なんか言い方がいやらしい。でも、もうケイスケの抱っこなしじゃ生きていけない。
Yeah, me either. I can't live without you, Akari. A brutal pang assaulted my heart with that comment, and I was filled with intense regret. I felt so heartbroken and miserable that, frankly, I felt like I would cry. Despite my wavering heart and being on the verge of breaking down into tears, I endured and held it all back.
ケイスケ、どうしたの？
Nothing. You're just so cute. I couldn't get you off my mind. That's all.
もう。
But I wanted to help Akari and Maki-san. Things couldn't end this way now that they had finally come to understand one another. I made up my mind that I would make Akari happy. Akari, let's do our best. I gave her a pat on the back and gently let her go. I steeled my heart and severed any lingering attachments. I was Phantom Thief Ura, ally to both Justice and to Akari. Alright, go on ahead without me for a minute.
どこに行くの？
Gotta take care of some business.
やぼよ？
You can join me if you'd like, you perv.
トイレならトイレって言いなさいよ。
Ha ha ha, there you have it. So head off without me, I'll be right there.
早くしなさいよね。もうすぐ時間なんだから。
Yeah, I waved it off, turned my back to her and started walking. There was no turning back now. Akari, I wonder if she'd be mad if she knew the truth. No, maybe she would cry. But I was an idiot, so this was the only method that came to my mind.
あら、ケイスケくん。どちらに？
I have some business to attend to.
着替えなら、おトイレよりあちらの部屋がおすすめです。今は誰もいません。
Where would I be getting changed?
どうしてでしょうね。
Senpai was giving me her usual smile, but her tone was anything but normal. Don't tell me she had...
ケイスケくん、私はあなたを応援します。私たちの代わりに、どうか、あかりちゃんとマキさんを助けてあげてください。
That had to be it. This woman. Can I say something?
はい。
Why are you letting me go?
あなたはみんなが幸せになるために必要な方ですから。
With that, Senpai turned away from me and left. Though she hadn't said it outright, she probably knew my true identity. This mission couldn't be allowed to fail. If I didn't stop Senpai now, it might all be over before I could make a move. But strangely enough, I didn't feel flustered. That smile of hers, that came from the heart. I knew deep down Senpai wouldn't turn against me.
あかりちゃん、ケイスケさんは？それがまだなのよ。あいついつまでトイレにこもってるのよ。もう時間ないよ。分かってる。さっき携帯に電話したんだけど出ないし。時間になっちゃった。ああ、もう偽裏の時といい、肝心な時にいないんだから。相棒失格よ。
Upon saying that, I came to a sudden realization. The time with the tea kettle. Then the time with the fake Ura. And now, when I was about to encounter the real Ura, Keisuke wasn't there with me.
あかりちゃん、早く。
It couldn't be.
やーやーやー、我こそは怪盗ウラ。予告状通りに吉備津宮のお宝を奪いに来たよ。
今日は女の格好をしているのか。それも変装か。
おのれ怪盗ら、またしても一人で目立って羨ましいでござる。
いいねいいね、たまにはこういう表舞台も癖になっちゃうね。
怪盗ウラ。
ふーちゃん、何？なんでもないよ。さーて、吉備津宮家の秘宝、生命の桃をいただいちゃうよ。レッツゴー。
そうはさせん。裏を確保しろ。今度は逃がさないでござる。
お前に恨みはないから、これも仕事だ。行くぞウラ。
こっちこっち。
おえおえ。
始まったみたい。上でウラさんが出たって。ええ。あかりちゃん、行かなくて大丈夫？ええ。あれは多分陽動よ。本命がこの場所にある以上、あいつは必ずここに来る。あかりちゃん、それにしても、もうケイスケったら本当に何してるのよ。遅いね。ちょっと心配。ケイスケ、遅い。あなたは。
The Onimask, which dances in the dark of night, and the Shuten Doji of lore, who sups on the moon's reflection. The world-famous Master Thief, Phantom Thief Ura, is on the scene.
怪盗ウラ。
Hey young ladies, we meet again. I declared in an exaggerated fashion, drew the flask from my pocket, and took a swig of booze. Now all my preparations were truly complete. All that left was to take the treasure.
一体いつの間にまだ上の騒ぎは収まっていないのに
Ah, it is not a clone technique or anything of the sort. All it means is that there isn't just one Phantom Thief Ura.
やっぱり上の裏は陽動ってわけね
More or less, thanks to that, I managed to make it here.
そうならちょうどいいわ誰にも邪魔されず
Oops!
怪盗裏鬼ごっこはもう終わりよ観念してお縄につきなさい
With that declaration, she raised her sword overhead and, with deathly serious eyes, lunged it straight in my direction. It only made my heart prickle with pain all the more, since her gaze had only ever been charmed with me these days. Get it together, man. Steer yourself, Ura Keisuke. Right now, I am Phantom Thief Ura. I see. You were waiting for me?
ええ怪盗は人目を盗んでコソコソするのが好きだからね絶対ここに来ると思っていたわ
Haha, is it my imagination or are you making a fool of me?
気のせいじゃないわ
A fearless smirk crossed her face, and then
おバカさんだって言ってるのよ
she readied her blade and closed the distance between us in a single bound. She was faster than before. What? I instantly drew my Oni baton and parried her wooden sword. After exchanging several blows, we took our distance. Akari struck boldly without a moment's rest. Her drive was unlike anything I had ever seen before. That just went to show how serious she was.
今日こそ逃がさないわ神妙にお縄につきなさい
I'm sure I told you, but I'm sick of hearing that line.
安心なさいあなたはこれ以上同じセリフを聞くことはないわだってここで捕まるんだから
Haha, I like assertive women, but do you actually believe you can capture me single-handedly?
やっぱりあなたはおバカさんね一人忘れてない
Whoa! By a hair's breadth, I narrowly avoided the strike from my rear and put distance between me and my attacker. A massive crater had been drilled into the spot where I had stood moments before.
わらわをのけ者にするとは釣れないではないかずっとお主を待っておったというの
What a drag! Never thought I would be keeping two beautiful ladies company. Doesn't look like my stamina will last.
そういうな今宵はゆるりと楽しんでいくがよい折のついたスペシャルスイートルームへご招待じゃ
What? What?
ほれほれどうした口数が減ってきたぞ
はっせ逃がさない
Good.
それそれ
Why you? They were getting cocky and barreling straight at me, but taking on two of them at once was obviously a little much. Now that Kana had awakened, her fists packed one hell of a punch and could knock me out if they so much as grazed me. A bone fracture was a foregone conclusion if I took a direct hit from Akari's wooden sword too. Their previously scattershot movements were now slowly becoming in sync. The desire to protect the Peaches of Life was likely to thank for their unified efforts. After dodging their strikes for a short while, I daringly leapt behind them and closed the gap. Phew, not bad, young ladies. You had me shaking in my boots, and your movements have improved considerably.
お褒めに預かり光栄だわあなたが前に言ったように仲間を連れてきたのとても頼りになる仲間をね
Is that right? That is some impressive progress. It would be a huge cause for concern if this fight kept up for much longer and they wore me down to nothing. Persuading Kana to take her leave would be the wisest course of action. I didn't know if the same tactic would work twice, but I may as well give it a shot. By the way, is there any chance you would overlook this?
残念だけどそれはないわね。私には引けない理由があるの。
Is that so? That's too bad. I took a flash bomb from my pocket and hurled it.
言ったはずじゃぞ。わらわに目くらましなど聞かぬと。
I know. The flash bomb was to ground Akari. I narrowly slipped through Kana's powerful arms and took her from behind. And then... there. Last time I merely prodded her breasts with my fingers. But this time I hugged her tightly from behind and massaged every last inch of those palm-sized titties. I made good use of the technique I had used on Akari. Make those boobs suffer.
こら、何を。見えない。何が起きてるの。
Hehehehe. How long can you withstand my finger technique?
こやつうまい。
Fall! I had her take a little nap, that's all. Her life is in no danger. I walked toward Akari, whose vision was still impaired, and approached the peach tree at their backs. There was no telling how old this tree was, but it was still thriving with peach blossoms, and a single, juicy peach hung from its boughs. This was the peach of life, the Kibitsumiya family's mystic treasure. I gripped it in my hand and slowly plucked it. The peach of life is now in my possess. Whoops! Just then, Akari regained her vision and slashed at me from behind. I instantly drew my Oni baton and struck back.
行かせない。生命の桃は絶対に渡さない。
Why are you so desperate? Because it's the Kibitsumiya's mission?
そうよ。私はキビツミヤあかり。お父さんとお母さんが守ってきた宝を、一族の使命を守る義務がある。
Asinine.
くだらなくない。
Gah! Crap, that attack just now made me drop the peach of life on the ground.
もらった。
Not bad, young lady.
これは絶対に渡せない。これだけは絶対に。
I thought I would take it fair and square, but if this is how it must be, I'll use methods more befitting of a phantom thief.
変幕？
I switched my Oni mask over to heat vision and secured my view. All I had to do now was to slap Akari's hand and swipe the peach of life. I crept up to Akari, careful not to make a sound.
目に頼っちゃダメ。集中。勘を研ぎ澄ませる。ケイスケが教えてくれた通りにやればいい。そして息を。気配。
Akari remained perfectly still and silently ready to sword. This smoke screen wouldn't last for long, and this match would only last for a second. I focused my strength into the baton in my grip. No! The wooden sword flitted before my eyes. With a horrendous crackle, my bangs swayed. The very definition of a hair's breadth. I skewed its trajectory with my baton, but that was seriously close. Your skills have improved, Akari, but... I see you haven't fixed that klutziness of yours. You relied too heavily on my voice. Once I dodged her sword, I placed my Oni baton lightly against her bosom and activated its embedded stun gun. Akari's scream resounded throughout the vast cellar. Her shrieks made me feel like my heart would shatter. Forgive me, Akari. This is all to save you and Maki-san. You won't die, but I doubt you'll be moving anytime soon. Go ahead and rest there. The moment I spoke, I doubted my eyes.
逃がさない。まだ終わってない。
Akari rose to her convulsing feet and walked toward me, dragging her legs behind her. No fully grown man could get back up after taking that electric shock. To think you can still move. A tough woman indeed. Perhaps that should be expected of Momotaro's descendant. But what will you do now? You're a goner, and your reliable friend has fainted. What more do you think you can do?
黙りなさい。それは絶対に渡さないんだから。
I applaud your mettle, but... I scooped up the peach of life that had fallen from Akari's hand off the ground. As notified, the peach of life is now in my possession. Farewell, daughter of the Kibitsumiyas. I put the peach of life in my pocket and turned my back to Akari. Then, though there was a stagger in her gait, Akari firmly reached her hand out to my back. Akari's wails echoed throughout the chamber. Listening to this would likely leave me with a terrible wound to bear, that shriek of sorrow straight from the bottom of her heart. I will ask you again, why are you so obsessed with the peach of life? Is it due to the mission passed down through the Kibitsumiyas from one generation to the next? Then why? Why are you so obsessed with this thing? Teardrops ran down Akari's cheeks and spilled to the ground. That is your true wish, I assume. Willpower was likely all that had kept her standing. Following that delirious murmur, her knees gave out underneath her. I quickly rushed over and gave my collapsed Akari a soft embrace. Although Akari had lost consciousness, her hand was still stretched outward. I tenderly held it and gently patted her head. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, Akari. When I spoke those words to her, this time she appeared to fall into a deep slumber.
Akari? Akari?
さんの私確かそうよフラが
無理しちゃダメよ しばらく休んでなさい。
でもフラは
もういいの。もういいのよ。こんなに怪我をして。でもよく頑張ったわね。もう休んでもいいのよ。ごめんね、あかり。今まで辛い思いをさせてきたわね。三賢人に強制されたとはいえ、あかりには本当に辛いことばかり言ってきたわよね。でもね、本当はね、ずっとこうしてあなたの髪を撫でてあげたかった。
お母さん。
あなたは甘えん坊さんだからギュッて抱きしめてあげたかった。勉強もお稽古も本当に頑張ってたわよね。
お母さ
ん。あなたは私の自慢の娘よ。
お母さん。お母さん。
最後だもの。今だけはあなたのお母さんに戻ってもいいわよね。
やだ、最後なんて言わないで。ずっと一緒にいてよ、お母
あかり。
さん。ねえ、そうだ、桃は、生命の桃は、あれがあれば。
あれは吉備宮家の秘宝中の秘宝。私たちの勝手な理由で使うわけにはいかないわ。それはあなたも分かっているでしょ。
そんな。やだ。
あかり。
やだよ。そんなのやだよ。どうしてこうなるの。お母さん。死んじゃやだ。私を一人にしないでよ。
あかり。
お母さんと買い物行きたいよ。お母さんとお料理したいよ。一緒にやりたいこといっぱいあるんだよ。
ありがとう。そう言ってくれただけで。お母さん、今まで頑張ってきた甲斐があったわ。あかり、愛しているわ。あなたは私の自慢の娘よ。圭介君と幸せにね。
やだ。そんなセリフ聞きたくない。お母さんは私といるの。ずーっと私といるの。
Excuse me for intruding on your conversation. She must have been trying to protect Maki-san. Akari's unsteady hands reached for her nearby wooden sword.
来ないで。これ以上あなたに大事なものを奪わせないわ。
Don't be so defensive. I didn't come here to steal anything.
うるさい。だったら桃を返しなさい。私のお母さんを返して。
It was great that she stood up, but her legs were trembling, her stance shaky. Regardless, Akari remained standing in order to protect her precious mother. You need to chill out for a second. I only came to pay Kibitsu Miyamaki a hospital visit.
私の。
お母さんに近づかないで。
God, I get it. Here, catch. Be sure not to drop it. With that said, I took the peach from my pocket and tossed it Akari's way. Catch.
これって。
Kibitsu Miyamaki, if I recall, you liked peaches. I found an exceptional peach just for you. Take it.
もしかしてこれ生命の桃。でも うして？
I told you this was a get well visit. Peaches are the best medicine after all. If she eats that, Kibitsumiya Maki should get better.
ウラ。
I was sure she couldn't make sense of my actions. She gazed at me with bewilderment.
怪盗ウラ、聞いていたでしょ。私も吉備津宮の人間です。個人的な理由で秘宝を使うわけには。
Treasures are only valuable when put to good use, otherwise they were useless. Mystic treasures should be used to help those in need.
ですが。
Aren't you going to change the Kibitsumiyas? I do believe that is why you've worked so hard to this day.
え。
Make Kibitsumiya Mamoru's dream come true and bring Akari happiness. Isn't that also your own personal wish? If so, use that as a motive. If you don't have the guts to break a single taboo, you will never be able to make your daughter happy, much less change the Kibitsumiyas. You should make your dream of standing in the kitchen with your daughter a reality, your smiles. That is the treasure I seek.
ウラ。あなた。やっぱり。
Farewell, Akari. Get along with Maki-san, okay?
待って。ウラ。ケイスケ。
There isn't a thief alive that will wait when told. Also, I am Phantom Thief Ura.
待って。ケイスケ。
This was how it was meant to be. This was for the best. Goodbye, Akari. The next morning, we were ready to leave the island on the first ferry ride out.
ねえ、お兄ちゃん、本当にこれでよかったの？
Yeah. The Peach of Life was the Kibitsumiya's ultimate mystic treasure. I couldn't imagine the three sages would forgive me for stealing it. Akari had almost assuredly figured out that I was Ura, and it was only a matter of time before that information spread. For that matter, if anyone were to learn Phantom Thief Ura had been the Kibitsumiya head's boyfriend, Akari would end up losing her status within the three great families. It was with great effort that she had made up with Maki-san and seemingly taken the first step toward becoming the next family head. I'd only get in her way if I stuck around.
あかりさんと離れ離れになっちゃうね。
Yeah.
おじいちゃんと喧嘩しちゃうくらい好きだったんでしょ？
Yeah.
本当は泣くほど辛いくせに。
Shut up. I quickly wiped away the tears that had spilled down my cheeks. Looks like I really was a laughingstock through and through. Yeah, I thought I had made up my mind, but I have so many lingering regrets.
誰か来る？
ケイスケ。
Huh? Akari? At that very moment, who should appear from the harbor but Akari? When she spotted Aoi and I, she looked at us somewhat astonished.
ここに来るんじゃないかと思ってたわ。島から出るには船を使うしかないからね。
Yeah, that's about the size of it.
ねえ、その荷物何？
We're going on a quick trip, I suppose.
相棒に内緒で？
Sorry, I...
待って。
Akari gingerly placed her finger against my lips.
それ以上は聞きたくない。あなたが正体を明かしたら、私はあなたを捕まえなくちゃならなくなる。
That sad face of hers said everything. She figured it out. In which case, I could hardly speak up. Did Maki-san get better?
お医者さんも目を回してた。もう心配いらないって。
Really? I'm glad.
実はね、私ケイスケと一緒に行くことも考えた。でもお母さんを一人にはしておけない。それに私には吉備宮を変えるっていう大事な仕事があるから。だから一緒には行けない。
Yeah, I figured you would say as much.
なんでもお見通しなんかムカつくわね私ね、正式に吉備宮を継ぐことにしたの。みんなと協力して必ず吉備宮を中から変えていくわ。2年1年もあれば十分ね。いつかあの三賢人を燃えないゴミに出してやるんだから。そしてケイスケを怪盗ウラを御三家に迎え入れられるようにする。
That's not going to be easy.
分かってる。でもやるわ。
There was no hesitation in her eyes as she spoke. I genuinely couldn't tell whether this girl was a crybaby or incredibly reliable. Yeah, but that suited her. It was precisely because she was like this that I fell in love with her. Akari.
ケイスケ。
On reflex, I hugged her tightly, then softly patted her head.
本当はね、本当はケイスケと一緒に行きたいよ。離れ離れになるなんてやだよ。こうしてケイスケと抱き合っていたい。ずっとそばにいたいよ。私の一番大切な人だから。でもそれだとケイスケがしてくれたこと全部無駄になっちゃうから。
Akari.
言っちゃやだ。ケイスケ。
Idiot, if you cry that hard, I'm not gonna be able to hold back. My tears soaked into Akari's hair. The steam whistle blew. It would soon be time to depart.
ケイスケ。
Akari. I was reluctant to say goodbye, but we couldn't stay this way forever. I gave Akari a gentle pat on the back as my way of saying farewell. Even if it was just for a little while, this was farewell for Akari and I.
浮気しちゃうためよ。
Yeah,
怪盗ウラは嘘はつかないのよね。
yeah.
いつか私を盗みに来てね。約束よ。
Yeah, I promise. A mere touch. And yet, it was a deeper, more emotionally connecting kiss than any other we had ever shared. Yes, this wasn't a kiss goodbye. This was an advanced notice of our vow to meet again one day.
く広がりゆっくり心ほどいて憧れた自由な背中追いかけてく信じてそうどこまでも恋の花が咲く頃に時を超えたおとぎ話すれ違った真実でさえもあなたへつながっていくこれから先もずっと紡いでいきたいの鮮やかな今
Afterward, although I did get one rather impressive wallop from Grandpa when we reunited, he praised me and said I did well. By the way, the smack was for engaging in Ura activities without permission. From what Grandpa told me, Maki-san had apparently made a full recovery. In fact, not only had she recovered, she seemed healthier than the average person. That was the nectar for you. I guess it was called the Kibitsumiya's ultimate mystic treasure for a reason, huh? I also heard that Akari and Maki-san's relationship had improved. That was all I needed to hear to know all of my suffering was worth it. Then the days and months passed. Akari changed the Kibitsumiya family just like she promised me, and established a means of managing the mystic treasures without relying on the three sages. With this, there should be no more conflict between the Urabes and Kibitsumiyas. I sent my third advance notice. Yeah, it looks like everyone's here though. Have you been well, Chief?
いやまあ双剣でござる。お気遣い痛み入るでござる。
I was surrounded by a mass of ninjas, but the mood was anything but imposing today. As expected, there was what I would even call a somewhat carefree mood in the air.
来たわね、怪盗ウラ。まさかこんな正門前から乗り込んでくるとは思わなかったけど。
The black crowd of ninjas parted, and a nostalgic figure slowly approached me. Long black hair, a peach blossom hair clip. Without warning, my heart raced. Since there's no need to sneak around anymore, am I wrong?
違わない。
Then I guess I won't be needing this unsavory mask anymore either. I gently removed my mask and revealed my face.
ケイスケ。
You told me that you would change the Kibitsumiyas, but it was rough, wasn't it?
でも、お母さんやカナやみんなが手伝ってくれたから。
You did well, Akari.
だってあれだけのことをしてくれたんだもの。期待に応えなきゃケイスケに会えないもん。ずっと会いたかった。
Yeah, me too. I've wanted to see you for so very long.
ケイスケ。
We held each other as tightly as could be, to try and make up for all the days and months that we had been apart. Yeah, you've become so beautiful, Akari. Happy, so very happy. Akari's tears primed the pump and sent the droplets she had been holding back running down her cheeks.
あなたの予告状ずっと待ってた。
Me too. Do you know how sick I got of waiting?
ケイスケ。捕まえたんだから。もう二度と逃がさないんだから。
Haha, guess it's time for Phantom Thief Ura to pay the piper.
これからずっと一緒よ。
Yeah, together. Together forever.
いっぱいギューってしてキスもたくさんしてく
Yeah, I couldn't ask for anything greater. Akari, I love you.
私も愛してる。
This was how Phantom Thief Ura and Momotaro were officially joined as one. From then on, for generations, they would protect and occasionally use the mystic treasures while leading blessed lives. And they lived happily ever after. Well, that was Akari's route, and next time on Onigokko, we're going to start Kana's route. Thanks for watching everyone, and have a nice day. Bye bye.